Oh,
in the
oh, you
gallery
think you're
chat.
so special, don't you?
I mean, I can sit. I have a sitting camera set up too.
Amazing.
Yeah, I know technology.
Give me seconds to make sure I'm tabbed into everything that should be tabbed into.
Let me know when you're all ready to start, and then I'll do the intro.
I'm ready. Whenever.
Alright, for those of you who want the VOD, there is the stream. I think we're good.
Wait, where'd you link the VOD?
Developer Q&A text.
Okay. Okay, we ready?
Ready.
Yep.
Okay, cool. I'll start it now. Do you normally tick the let everyone know the event is starting as well?
I think we
Probably
already
should, yeah.
announced it.
Okay,
Oh, wait.
that's
Oh,
fine.
yeah, we should probably
Too
stop
late.
that. Yep. I forgot about the stage thing. That's on the setting.
It's on the setting, bros.
All right, everyone's joining in now. Give them a second. Cool. Welcome everyone to the Sunrust Summer Q&A here with Magic Swap and Professor Drew this time. Scott unfortunately wasn't able to make it. I think Frey's chilling around somewhere as well. What we're going to be discussing this time, let's focus on just the dev, talking amongst ourselves, and more time to just answer questions instead. The things that I'll be talking about briefly will just be around the Scorched Earth update. The first part has already been released. There is a second part that I'm working on, which is going to be a big medic update as well. At the moment, those are the only things that I'm working on right now. I was planning on looking at the summer, no, not the summer shop, just the shop and banished sigil rework. But I'm delaying that for now until probably after summer, most likely, when we're going to expect like the Sunhud shop to come out with the banished rework and everything. I don't know what's going to happen with Insanities, but we'll see. Probably talk about that in another Q&A. So the focus on the Scorched Earth updates is sort of to decreep the game mode. It's gone to the point where, partially my fault as well, that we were just buffing either the zombies or the humans over and over again because of certain players or certain builds, instead of just thinking about it carefully and just nerfing those builds or whatever. That's why we ended up with zombies that have more abilities, more counters, such as doing more blood armor damage or more stamina damage. All these extra abilities, they were only added because of certain builds. So what I've been doing this year and what I'm continuing to do is just tone down all these abilities, remove these extra mechanics and gimmicks that should have never existed in the first place. things like Quick Claw, that's gone from normal zombies. The only reason that was added was because of people parrying. Parrying was really good, and there wasn't much you could do about it. But instead of just adding a mechanic to counter it, I just decided to just nerf parrying and make it more sensible, and then just get rid of Quick Claw. Same thing with like big gold shoulder barge ability. It didn't need that. The class isn't supposed to be focused on mobility, so any of these extra abilities, or one that I did recently is I got rid of the shield from Parasite and Saddlemare, which they got it later in the game. Again, they don't need these extra abilities. So by decreeping the zombies as well, we're safer to also decreep the humans and reduce some of their power. And I'm gonna have to repeat it again. Unfortunately, we do have to nerf the 1% or the top scoring humans, or whatever you want to call it, because they're the ones causing the most problems when it comes to balancing, because they know all the inner workings of all these mechanics and how to exploit and abuse them. So some people are not going to like that we're focusing on these builds and certain players, but unfortunately we just have to continue to do that because they're the ones that are usually causing the most chaos. So that's what the Scorched Earth is about. Decreeping the game and try to continue to make it fun and fair. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on. So Magic or Drew, either of you have anything you'd like to say?
Just a little bit. I just want to say thank you to everybody for being patient with me. As I got back into development, literally out of nowhere, somebody pinged me. I think it was Nick Crossan pinged me, and I got back into things, and I didn't expect to come back. I wasn't like planning to, but I got the urge again to develop and to make new things and to play more ZS. I stepped away for a while, life and all that, but it's been really great being back, and I've got a newfound passion and energy for the game. And to follow up with some of the stuff that Pooflet just said, I think there is a lot of really obscure stuff in the game, and it hurts. It hurts the people that it's meant for. Yeah, like the 1%. But I think who it also hurts is players who just join, because I had the experience of a player who just joined, and all this stuff was different, and all of a sudden I'm like getting hit by a zombie, and I'm taking all this weird damage, and like, I walk up to something and I melee it and I get 50 poison. It's like, well, why did that happen? There's a lot of obscure mechanics, and I go on code reviews. I like going through the stuff, and some of the things that I've been pulling out, it's like, well, maybe that was one of the reasons why this was such a problem. Maybe that was one of the reasons why people had issues here. It wasn't like some kind of weird thing that we can't control. It's actually like, or some kind of balance factor with a certain weapon. It's an overall systemic problem. So finding all that stuff, being able to work on it, being able to slowly start making the game a little easier to read, a little easier to understand. Again, it goes a long way in making players who are new and like don't know anything. It allows us to educate them and kind of make it easier for them to make that transition to, a good player, somebody who plays the game consistently. It makes them want to play it more because it's more fair. So overall, I think we've been making really good progress on that recently, and yeah,
I'm really happy with the how Professor Drew picked up the torch with fishing. I know when I implemented fishing, I knew it was going to be big, but I didn't know it was going to have the staying power it had, into next summer. So I'm happy it got expanded on. I'm happy it got reworked, and I'm happy with everything Professor Drew is doing with it. I was even thinking of adding a new fishing rod or a fishing tool.
oh please,
to help
that would
expand
be
on it.
wonderful. I would love that, because for me, it's like I have a really easy time working on systems that already exist, because like I know the intended behavior, and it's easy for me to not deviate from that. But like now that I'm building out more stuff and I'm getting more into weapons and all that, it's I'm reaching the limits of my knowledge with Lua. Today I had a pretty big mess up too. But any more extra work would be great. I mean, I appreciate you making the system to begin with. I thought it was really cool, But making dumb, goofy things like that, I think that's something that I really enjoy.
So I know I've been taking a back seat in returns to ZS for the past month or so, but I do plan on working on some back end systems. I'm working on a few updates for Point Save and hoping to become more active in the next month. So this Q&A will serve as sort of a guideline for what I should focus on for the coming updates. Um, I primarily focus on ZSR and some Point Save, but I will work on some back end stuff for main. One thing of note that I have in the back of my mind is a rework of the node system. I know we
Mm.
talk about it a lot, how with the whole Nidus worm spawns and everything, that the node system, it's old in the tooth. We have basically three types of nodes: drops, control points, and sigils. Because that's all we really needed in the old Rayox era of ZS, Rayox, Tori, Pufla era. Now that we have all these drops, it's time to expand that so that Nidus worms don't spawn in cades, and we don't have duplicate sigils anymore. So stuff like that, just retooling the game mode so less strange stuff happens, is going to be my focus for the next couple of months.
Yeah, I think that's good because especially with nodes, I found myself having to do map reviews and be like, oh, well, if the Nidus spawns here, we're screwed. And also, long-standing bug, banished sigils weren't spawning on the nodes that they should have for like 10 months. Uh,
Yep.
these things like this just happen, especially with, a system where things aren't clear. And then, like, I had some discussions with some admins, and they were like, well, it's supposed to spawn on drop points that we've been placing them so that it's supposed to be there. And I'm like, well, that kind of invalidates the whole, you know, design of it for the years that it existed. And so it's great to see that system getting some rework. It would make things a lot easier on people who create those, and maybe we can go along in making some guidelines for that as well. Like, don't put it this close to zombie spawn. Banish sigil should be in these places ideally. Things like that, just so everybody's on the same page.
It would be really nice for mappers because I believe you can set
Yeah,
it up where, if you set an entity to be, you place a sigil next to zombie gases. I believe you can make it show up in map problems that there's a sigil next to the zombie
that's cool.
gases. Even though it's a little self-explanatory, it does open up avenues for people to, you know, stick to guidelines and make the game a little bit more consistent because that's a big thing Scott wanted ZS to move to, is having a consistent experience across many maps.
Mm,
That's why lots of
mm.
maps seem to be trending towards a standardized cading layout, and you don't see a lot of head crab vents, even though head crab vents weren't really that good to play against in the first place. But I digress. I believe Pooflit wanted most of this Q&A to be community questions, correct?
Yeah, that's true. I think we already outlined everything that we wanted to work on. I don't think there's anything else that we could really say at this point. So I'm happy to just start answering questions from people.
Okay, we can take it from the top then. Firestorm, are you able to repost the questions in chronological order? So we can just go by them one by one?
Oh, the question's been pinned in the right order? Oh. Oh, okay, I can answer this one. Now that the ZS bash command has been removed, can you add bash to blundergat and maybe its variants? You should be able to bash like Eternal, but instead directly only offers Ironside. Maybe. I don't see why not. I think we are already making shotguns behave closer to melee anyways with the blood armor gain and bashing, so
Mm.
sure, potentially.
I actually had an idea for a replacement for ZS Bash. While working on ZSR, I looked at a lot of weapon bases, and one of them had a really cool hotkey where if you hold down E and then left click, it did a bash, which I thought was a really nice intuitive control that isn't really used in ZS. And we could possibly
Okay.
use that to make Bash global again without having to, gate it behind a convar or con command.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be good.
So what happens if you use a prop and then left click right now though?
It could make it so that if it only works if you're not holding a prop. We
Okay.
can do checks for that. Um,
Yeah, I think that's fine. Because I was trying to think of like a suitable key for it, but I couldn't, so I just added it as a ZS bash command. But if we can find a proper key for it, that command can return, I guess.
so I think the case is ZS bash was removed due to technical limitations, and it might see a return.
Yes.
That'll be our
Yeah.
official answer.
Yeah. Next question. Are the devs in touch with the players that have the biggest impact in how the game runs and plays?
I sure hope so.
I mean, I guess as long as they have access to ZS discussions, yes. Because
yeah.
despite the screenshots you may see from Game Tracker, we still read ZS discussions. We still talk to people in ZS discussions. So
Yeah. In case you guys, I mean, I think that's more of a question for the community. Do you feel like we've been listening to the top players? Do you feel like we've been listening to, you guys? I mean, I try to talk to everybody, uh, equally, I guess.
So the way I usually develop is I'll have an idea and then I might pass it through dev to see what the other developers think. But then afterwards, there are certain players that I might pitch the idea to them to see what they think. After that, I then bring it to ZS discussions or dev collab. But with the Scorched Earth update, what I've also done is I've pretty much posted all the planned changes with plenty of time in advance. I think those plan changes were up for like 2 or 3 weeks, so everyone can see what I wanted to do and then comment on them, and then afterwards, I might change them or whatever. But with the medic stuff, I did have like a little. No, we didn't go on the stage, but we did have like an hour discussion or something in voice with Honor Def about the medic stuff after I had discussed it with like Darker One and some of the other devs to see what he thinks as well. So yeah, sometimes it's going to affect like certain builds like medics or roamers or melee. There are certain people that I might talk to privately or just in the voice channels, and then afterwards, and that's something I want to continue doing going forward because I much prefer working on bigger updates that take longer because then people can just actually read the changes and everything. And I think people just appreciate having more time to digest every single update because even I went through a point where I think it was like almost every day I was just releasing updates, just small changes, but it's just constantly. So it just becomes a game of you have to keep up with the change logs in order to play optimally. And I want to kind of get away from that, go to more
Hmm.
like weekly or even like every couple of weeks, just do a bigger update. And that way people can see everything that I want to do. And I think it'll just make it a lot more transparent that way. Okay, what we got next?
I'll also add on to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the slower development cadence is really, I think that's really beneficial to players. Um, of course, bug fixes and things are gonna come. Uh, I try to not hit things that are too big on balance without like, especially since Scorched Earth is coming out. I'm like, if I see an issue and it's gonna really mess things up, I try to avoid it. But yeah, so slower, make it so that you don't have to constantly read the change logs. I mean, there's a lot of mechanics where you have to dig into the change logs to really understand them, and uh, I considered adding to the wiki for these things, but it's just impossible to manage. I mean, eventually the change logs get like I have to make an update, then I have to make a change log, then I have to make an edit to the wiki, then I have to make an edit to the status description. Like it's a lot of there's a lot of mental load involved in there. So yeah, definitely compressing that and then being able to like say, here's the update, here's all the issues, and go through those one by one. I think it's a good workflow. But of course, me
Yeah.
with fishing, I nickel and dime updates every day. But it's a balance for sure.
Cool. What we got next? Would you guys focus? Oh, would you guys consider a focus to the outside gameplay style so it feels? What do you mean, roaming?
Mm. I think he means roaming. He's saying roaming without saying roaming. Or maybe just like, on waves in early ZS, I remember, well, not early, but like, I remember waves 1 and 2, humans were pretty much outside of the barricade most of the time. Like, yeah, you were just kind of hanging out there. There wasn't that much pressure. He might be talking about a play style like that, right? Is that what you sort of meant? The idea of outside. He's talking about late game.
Late game. Well, I mean, I see people outside late game. They have certain weapons and tools to use that to jump around. I think that's fine as long as there are then appropriate countermeasures that the zombies can use.
Yeah.
Because I don't want people to just always stay inside of the sigil the entire game because that's really boring. I think that's probably the most boring part of ZS, to be honest. I think Wave 1 and 2 are a lot more fun. I think intermissions are a lot more fun as well than the actual wave itself. So that's kind of why I think doing all the zombie decreeping stuff as well should help people feel more comfortable to go outside. But yeah, I want to get more people to go outside in general, just push out more as a team. I think that's fun for both sides.
Yeah, and I think making the mechanics more clear on that would go a long way in making people feel more comfortable going outside. I think one of the worst things is when you're like, I'm gonna push out, and then you just instantly die, and it's like, what could I like really? My threat assessment was so off, and the fact that like what even killed me. I think also the fact that it shows the damage that got done to you, that's a huge thing. I think we should enable that by default, honestly. Like every time you die, it shows you the damage. Massive bonus. Like I didn't know that was an option until somebody sent me a screenshot with it, and I'm like, I'm in there.
I added
Wonderful.
sort of like initially like a debug thing to see what the hell would kill me so I could nerf it. But I think we could have that for everyone. I think that'd be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is the damage count on it's kind of unreliable. It doesn't tell you exactly all the damage sources, so that's gonna have to get fixed as well. But the thing with like roaming and pushing out, I like it when people do it in groups or like herds. And that's sort of what I'm going to lean into with the medic changes as well, because I'm removing the tier 2 and 3 med kits. So a lot of the self-sustain and self-healing is being removed from the game, but there's going to be more sources of where you benefit from healing other people. Like soothing elixir is got a thing now where when you heal someone, you also heal yourself. And Sacred Vow as well, getting reworked and coming back, where you can also benefit from your own healing. So, yeah, more teamwork focused pushing out and roaming, I think, is better than just a single human. I think it's a lot more enjoyable than if you have like a pack of humans you can hunt down. And plus, they will attract more zombies as well if they see more people out. Next question. Nightmare needs a buff. The only thing it excelled at over other bosses is gone. Reason to pick it. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, there's been a lot of discussion about this one. A lot of people are very passionate about Nightmare balance.
Yeah. It's always between Nightmare and Butcher. One of them is always the dominant one. It's kind of tricky because they both kind of do the same thing. And now we also have Behemoth, who's really good at just like being on roofs and stuff. And again, single targets. I think Butcher is in a pretty good spot now.
Absolutely.
So I think now we just have to adjust Nightmare. I think, I don't think Nightmare does a lot of damage because the point of Nightmare was it did a ton of slow, but I don't think that works too well with modern ZS. If you just slow them down, you want to be able to kill someone a bit faster as an assault boss. So also, Butcher having like all the melee resist stuff and like Butcher's probably the best boss against a 1v1, like a straight up because of all the mechanics, and Nightmare just can't compete with that. The only thing Nightmare has is the speed and agility,
Yeah.
but he can't really kill humans that well. So yeah, maybe we could probably look at some. I think just some stat changes to Nightmare should make it feel a lot better to use. To be honest, I don't think it needs that much.
Yeah. I just
So
don't.
maybe.
I feel like Nightmare kind of lost his identity throughout the years. Like he was. I remember playing him long ago as like a debuffing class. So like you'd run in, you'd hit some players, they'd be slowed, they'd be enfeebled, and you kind of let your team go after them. He was like more like a horde kind of thing, but his playstyle radically changed. So I think some base stat changes would be good to give him a little more viability and make him more usable. But also we need to maybe consider a complete rethink of Nightmare. I was toying around with an idea for back when there was a long period of time where Nightmare's hitbox didn't work. It like went into his neck or something. Uh, maybe giving him like no headshots would be an interesting way to make him stronger against certain things. I don't know. It would be funny to bring that back. But I think Ancient Nightmare is kind of eating his lunch. Ancient Nightmare is the one that you really got to watch out for. He's the one where like you're in close quarters.
I think Ancient Nightmare's a good boss. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You're in close quarters. An Ancient Nightmare like ambushes you. He's good.
One thing we could probably push more into for Nightmare is he's got this ability where at a distance he's completely invisible. So maybe that could be improved to make him a lot better at just like doing a single hit and run sort of thing, or just
Ooh, I
better
like
like
that.
ambushing in that way, or more stealth. I'm not sure.
We could give him Doom. That would be fun.
There is a problem though. Like even if you touch a class, like let's say you buff Nightmare, like no matter what you do, you kind of make the other class obsolete. In this case, Butcher. You indirectly
You
make
just give him a tiny
obsolete.
buff. I don't think so.
Yeah, but
Because
Butcher has a lot of other tools.
Yeah.
People see that they do the same thing. So if one does the other better, then the other class automatically becomes obsolete for them.
Yeah.
Also, hey Frey, welcome to the stage.
Thank you.
Actually,
Sorry
I
for.
I think Doom would be pretty good.
Earlier. I was
Just
doing
because
something.
he's like a slow burn. Yeah, because you do have to try to like differentiate Butcher and Nightmare. Like Butcher is really good for quick, fast, direct damage, and then Nightmare has always been about the more lower damage, where you have a lot more feeling of being just helpless. So
Yeah,
we could
Butcher
just
also has
buff him
tools to
in
chase
that
people
way.
down with his throwable cleaver. So
As what?
his throwable cleaver, the
Oh yeah.
throws the
What
cleaver.
about it?
Yeah. Well, he has tools to chase people down. I
Yeah,
feel like
yeah.
Nightmare, if you're running away from him, you're just like you're good.
Well,
He's got nothing to
battle
bother
run
you.
where he becomes one of the fastest classes in the game. Then I think Nightmare was going to be better anyways after the medic update, just because of the plans for self-sustain and the other changes. That's why I'm kind of holding back on doing any zombie changing now, because I want to see what happens after the medic stuff comes out.
I see.
Cool. I think we can go to the next question. Will the nail pack and rapid transit skills be in the skill? Well, nail pack's already in the game now. I've added that. I think it's just called Builder. Rapid transit, that's just where you can teleport faster. We do have 2 skills already for teleporting faster and phasing faster. So I guess, do we just want to add another 2 skills to further go into those 2 aspects? Or do we just buff like both of those skills instead? I'm happy to do either. I don't mind. We could just make those skills more potent. I think that'd be okay.
Oh God. Okay, this is a good question from Revenge.
Oh,
if you don't
yeah.
mind, I take this
Yeah, I
one.
told you to post this one for us.
Well, I did high burst damage weapons. The Wicked Boomstick, Hyperion Tau get gutted instead of giving bosses, lessers, demis resistance towards them.
The funny thing is that
Okay.
they used to have resistance towards them, like the Hyperion Big Laser
Yeah.
used to have like a, what was it? I think it was either 66 or 33% multiplier against the Hyperion.
It's
And-
40%.
I just did, yeah.
And I think it was partially reverted, or entirely reverted, because demis are just so much more. Ever since the bodyguard update, there's
Well,
demis everywhere.
I think it still had that. I think it got reverted for the other weapon, the Hyperion. I didn't think. Oh no, it got reverted for the Tau. I didn't get reverted for the Hyperion. The Hyperion, I think, was demis and less,
Well, there was discussion to revert it for the Hyperion.
or it was demis and
too.
greater. Oh yeah.
But it's because demis were so much more plentiful than they were back then. Because demis had that whole build up, and then post Dark Market, post Bodyguard, you can see demi stacks more often. I think as for bosses and great evils, it's hard to. That one's a little bit more nuanced.
Well, it becomes a question of, well, so we have a weapon that deals incredibly high damage, right? And it deals incredibly high damage, but it only does this damage to normal zombies. So, like, what's the utility of dealing high damage? Like, really, you're gonna delete their health bar multiple times over. If the damage penalty only only applies to things that are like greater than a demi boss, then what's the point of even having it? Why not just hit base stat?
Yeah,
I don't know. I just
why not just
prefer,
lower the
I prefer
damage?
it to be more consistent overall. Like it's less of a headache for everyone to handle. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, because I see
Yeah.
these boss tier scaling things are just like band-aid things. Like, oh, this specific weapon is doing too much damage to the boss. Let's add this thing we do less instead of like, okay, why don't we just rebalance the stats then if it's a problem? Just get rid
Because
of
how do
these
you
little
communicate that to
fixes.
players? Like, do we need to add a special damage type that's going to have like a different hit number color, or maybe like a sound? It becomes very difficult. So then players, I mean, I had a moment like this recently. Like, players will use something and just, why is this not working? Is it broken? Is it bugged?
Yeah, there is just no reason to overcomplicate something when there's just like an easy way out of it.
So I guess the answer to that question is that resistance is hard to communicate to the players. Players don't know exactly what the resistances are set to. Even
Yeah.
horde resistance is kind of unclear. But it's since horde resistance is just a flat resistance, it's not too bad of a deal.
Yeah, you got a meter for that underneath your
it's for
on your
your
screen at all
position.
times too.
For your position.
Yeah, it is for your position. Yeah, you're right. That is a problem. It is for your position. I don't know how we would communicate that at all.
So yeah, it's just easier. Plus in the dev server, when we have a billion zombies and are just looking at raw DPS, it's easier to gauge DPS. If we don't have to deal with any, special hard-coded scalings. So it's just a matter of simplicity. Unfortunately, that does mean we're kind of limited in regards of high damage weapons.
Well,
Yeah.
no, I think there's things that can be done. There's things that can be done for like the Tau and the Hyperion. Because like the Hyperion, I think it fires multiple beams, so we could just make it
Yeah.
so one beam hits one target and then balance it around that. Or maybe we can make it so one beam hits one target, but then like the rest will pierce. Or maybe we can just make it one big beam that pierces and lasts for a long time. Like there's
Yeah.
many things that can be done that are clearer and just work like expected. There are complicated behaviors in the game, but I think in many ways, if it's complicated, we can find a way to communicate it. And if it's just unnecessary complexity, like, oh, you just hit this guy for less damage, and just you have no way of telling other than looking at the damage numbers and comparing them, because like again, horde resistance exists. So like you have to take into account that, and you don't know the horde resistance at that enemy. So it might just be horde resistance, but it might also be this. They might be buying a buff from the zombie, the dark market, but like you don't have particles on. You can't tell. Like there's so many things that could be going on. So yeah, just reducing the complexity helps, because you're not going to be able to compare damage numbers. It is a losing battle comparing damage numbers, I think.
So if you want high burst damage, we're probably gonna have to switch over to like AoE and piercing. Get your high damage from multiple targets instead of just a single target, because it's gonna destroy demi bosses and bosses and that, which is not fun on the receiving end. So the weapons that I did change, they may need further rebalancing so that they're still good at doing high burst, just not on a single target instead.
Yeah, I think that was a good question. I think that was a good discussion.
Have we got any more? Oh, come on! I said keep it short and simple. Geez.
No, I think you can answer this one off of the first sentence or two.
Okay.
Okay, so it's basically about great evils they don't do their job consistently. They're weird. Sometimes they're a point farm. Sometimes they just kill you. Do we ever plan on reworking them to feel more fair and more fun to fight against, like a proper big boss?
Well, they're the least touched zombie classes, I'd say that. So
Yeah.
the balance is going to be all over the place, I guess. Because the whole point of Greater Evils is to push people away from spawn camping. That was the original goal of them.
That was the original goal, yeah. So pretty much just like move them away from it, because otherwise you will just have snooze games lasting for 3 waves or even in the spawn, and just there is nothing happening, and it's kind of boring.
Yeah, they're a little bit of spice, you know.
Yeah.
And also, like, they're sort of forces of nature, or they're intended to be. I'll get into it, but like the great evils, they're like always bot controlled, right? So they have a consistent difficulty level for the map. You're not gonna have a player that's like gonna get great evil and then say, I'm just gonna sit in a corner until humans like stand by a window, and then I'm gonna just kill them all. We had that in the past with playable great evils. It was very funny for a bit, but then it was like, okay, well, that doesn't really work. Now I know their difficulty is inconsistent. It's because of a variety of factors, including nav meshes. Yes, nav mesh design and overall just bot decision making. I've been working on it. I mean, if you see me playing the game, I probably have a nav mesh tool at least at one point in the game, because I can see them now. I can see nav mesh issues before I even pull out the nav mesh tool. And most of the time, it's not like issues. It's not like going to break the game, but it's like if bots are going around a corner, instead of like going around the corner and then cutting it, they'll go out all the way over here, then they'll walk around the corner. That is such a common problem. And it's like if there's humans around that corner, then the bot is walking in a straight line. It's like they've created an artificial hallway in the nav mesh. I'm fixing that. I'm fixing that as we go. Hopefully, there was a problem with my changes not saving on one map, but I'm gonna make the bots better. It's just a long process, and these are things that are hard to see if you're not doing it on main. Like, if you nav mesh the map before, you can make bots playable, and that's great. But then you get on main, and it's like you see these little optimizations or little small issues, and it's just like how you can't detect these without actually just playing the game and seeing how bots react. So having them only be bot controlled does kind of hurt them. But they're also not playable. They're also not playable in the sense that like a lot of their abilities, they just trigger automatically. They just kind of happen. Like it's not like the Marrow Tyrant is going to walk up to somebody and say, I'm going to press the R key to pick this guy up. It's just like he has an autonomous thing on him that says, oh, hey, there's a human. I'm just going to pick it up. And it looks like he's doing it, but he's not. So if you made it playable, you need to turn that into a control, and you need to write like bot AI to intelligently use that, and it would be a different monster at that point.
Professor
Different
Drew
beast.
just ruined the magic.
Oh, no, the magic. No. Oh, my God.
I think we need a community to make a tier list for the great evils, because I know some of them stink right now.
The crux of the question is, should people be able to fight great evils 1-on-1 or 2-on-1?
Oh, no. Maybe. On some maps you can. You definitely can. You can kite them. You can stand in places where the nav mesh doesn't work. Enjoy these while it lasts. I will fix them. I will fix everything, man. With enough time.
If you melee a great evil and die and get mad, I don't care.
Yeah, like I kind of don't understand why you get mad by dying from a G. Like they're not supposed to be quote unquote easy to kill. It's basically the game telling you, hey, can you like move the fuck away from here? But it's
No.
telling you this in a more kind way, and by kind I mean rude, by killing you.
I mean, I think it'd be cool to see like 20 or 30 humans jump on top and start mailing a hate. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Oh, we used to do that back in the day, man.
We
That's why.
we did used to do
I don't
that.
think we should insta kill you though, because that sucks. I think if you want to like the band together and fight back, I think that's cool. But I don't like the
Yeah.
insta kill stuff that they do because it's cheap.
That's why I made the chef progress
they'll
on
need
Great Evil
changing in
so
the
big.
future. And yeah, we're not happy with them either, and we do want to make them better in the future. So I think that's a good question.
But yeah, in short, Grey Evils probably gonna stay the way they are from now, because they
It's
kind of
not
serve
high
the purpose
priority.
they were designed for. So yeah, they're gonna remain the way
Yeah.
they are.
They're not like a critical balance thing. They're more of like a
No.
fun flavored thing. Like oh no, here's hate. Oh god, we gotta like walk away. And move.
Like
It's
they don't destroy the game. So yeah,
yeah, it's kind of like the
kind of,
Nidus Worm. Like the Nidus Worm is a similar kind of thing where it's just like it shakes things
I
up.
would say the Nidus Swarm. It's kind of controversial what I'm gonna say, but the Nidus Swarm sometimes can do more damage than
It can.
any Great Evil.
Yeah,
Oh, it
spawns
absolutely
in
can. The Nidus,
yeah.
the Nidus Worm can end games. Like I've seen it happen a lot.
Yeah.
We're working. It's known. It's known.
Yeah.
If we get a
Okay.
question on that, we could talk about that way more. But yeah, Nidus Worm is something that is on my mind at all times. I am on every map looking at drop points and saying like, the Nidus can spawn there. That will end the game. Or like,
Yeah.
there's so much to say about the Nidus. So
The problem, Drew, is also like where the humans are in that exact moment. Because like, here's the thing: sometimes you could even have like open areas, but the humans are all crowded, and they still die in that crowded area. Even if
of
it's
course
open.
they die.
Because they are-
Of course
they're
they
all there.
die because zombies get no taper on their melee attacks when they spawn from the Nidus
Pretty
Worm.
much, yeah.
The Nidus Worm is also designed to spawn in the center of the biggest group of humans, too, by the way. Because I don't want the worm to spawn a million miles away and you can just easily spawn camp it. It's supposed to spawn right behind you. That is intentional.
Yeah.
Also, please correct me if I'm wrong, but does the Nidus Worm, when it initially spawns, like if a player is exactly where the Nidus spawn, like when the Nidus, oh my god, I can't speak. When the Nidus is about to spawn, like if I am exactly there, is it gonna get me stuck?
No.
It should knock you back.
The issue that you are experiencing, and I think it still exists, is that as soon as the Nidus Worm entity is created, it's a valid spawn point. So sometimes you get unlucky and a zombie spawns the frame.
But isn't it after it burrows? After the burrow animation done, doesn't it?
Yeah. It needs to finish unburrowing before it becomes an active spawn.
I don't know. I killed people by getting them stuck before.
Well, I mean, I've killed people just from it spawning in a crowd, and then you just walk up to a crowd with taperless claws, and you just shred.
The
Like,
reason
you
I'm
just kill,
saying
like,
this,
10 people.
the reason I'm saying this, it's because like I see a lot of people just saying, "Oh, I died because the Nidus spawned on me."
Oh yeah.
So I was wondering,
it could probably knock you back further then or something. That could solve that.
It's just because it's a really
freeze you in place.
Yeah, it's not like it freezes you in place. I think it's just like a really disorienting thing sometimes, and like even if
Also,
people spawn
if it spawns in a corner and it pushes you against that corner too, or pushes you against the wall, and it gets trapped between it, then yeah, you're dead.
Oh, I see what you mean.
I think once you fix the nodes, that's the incidents are just gonna.
Oh yeah,
lower
absolutely. We can make balanced Nidus nodes. Absolutely, we can make balanced Nidus nodes. Like there are places where I'm like, that would be a cool place for a Nidus Worm to spawn, but it's like not for the banished, not for the drop points, not for the controls. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
And yeah.
Should we look at the next question then?
Oh yeah. Nidus Worm discussion. It'll come. If somebody asks a question, we could talk about it way more, but we gotta keep this flowing.
Without a dedicated top tier Z main, zombies oftentimes have a roughly 0% chance of winning. What can be not much. I don't think there's much you can do to.
There's a little bit we could do. I think one of the hardest things on Zombie Team, as somebody who hasn't played the game and was not used to the UI, I came in with like the completely new Zombie like class select UI and all that stuff. we definitely that we can go leaps and bounds in educating players on how to play zombie. I think first of all, like moving some of the stuff from the dark market into the class selection screen, like put the lessers in there, put the evolved demis, or not the evolved demis, the elite demis. We could put those in there. Just like describe how to play them.
Yeah, I kind of wanted that for a long time, and I still do not understand why it's not the way Drew describing. Like, I don't understand why it's Golem or Meteorite Eradicator on the dark market. But like, they are demi bosses. Like, why do they have to be in another menu and just not use the F3 one?
I thought they were elite zombies.
Well, they are, but I mean, you could just include them there.
You could, but like the problem is also that like I can look at the demi boss.
You have to be in a separate category. But that's what I wanted to do actually for the class selection. I wanted to be able to buy any class from there with Dark Essence.
Yeah, we talked about this a bit.
Plus, you can then see all the abilities that they have through the class selection instead of the dark market, which doesn't tell you anything. So I do want to do that. I want to get rid of all the demi boss buying stuff from the dark market and just put in the class selection instead, like all the classes.
Yeah, because I kind of feel like ever since the dark market was introduced, we got less and less classes being added in the actual menu. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a fan of that.
Well, yeah. So just improving the usability, making it so you can buy classes from the class selection screen, co-locating all of that together. I think that would be a huge bonus.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, like huge. I think another problem that we have is like the dark market it's there. I don't know how to really maximize my usage of it. It is a little bit more of a involved mechanic. You need to invest dark essence, and dark essence values can vary per game. They like on wave 1, it's quite easy to get dark essence with your taperless claws out of Z-gas, or like just throwing debuffs. Like sometimes you can get a ridiculous amount, sometimes you get like none. How do you kind of balance that? And like there is a lot of menuing involved, like because as a boss you might want to buy a health boost, right? You might get enough for a health boost and you can buy that, and then you can increase your health, and then like you can use like some of the buffs, like I don't know how many people are actually buying things like barricade damage, health boost. The game automatically buys health boost for you in some certain circumstances. Like I'm not sure how much of those mechanics are being utilized, and like a pro zombie player, somebody whose focus is on playing zombie, they're going to use everything to its maximum potential. So that's going to give them a massive boost. I mean, there are a lot of zombie buffs and stuff in the game, and there are interactions like if I use if I get ability cooldown, then that means I get more shields as Red Marrow. It's like, I mean, you don't get more. I mean, you get it faster. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like you get to use your abilities more quickly, and I think there's some kind of scaling on that for bosses. I mean, I haven't really looked into it.
Some of the buffs have scaling. Not the upgrades you can buy. Those are just static
the
amounts.
Upgrades don't. Okay, somebody was gaslighting me. I don't know who it was. Somebody was gaslighting me into saying that like bosses had a different like tier of upgrade from the upgrades, because like some of my math was off. No, it wasn't off.
No, it's only the buff statuses that get scaled, like Wretched Might, Rending Claws, and all those scale. Because the other ones are quite small percentages anyways, so I don't think,
they're little benefits.
If you scale them as a boss, it'd suck.
Yeah, it would suck. It would be like nothing. But like, you know, maybe there's some circumstances where it's like if we get this with Big Ghoul Shield, if we allow the Big Ghoul to use his shield this fast, then like maybe that opens up some new opportunity. Like there's a lot of danger in having those, and maybe the zombie players are holding on to something crazy. I don't know.
At the end of the day, there's only so much you can do for like a good player, and just like a player doesn't really care as much for just a bad player. And the dark market, it does add the skill ceiling to the zombies, but compared to humans, they don't have nowhere near as much depth. And the dark market, which is something nice that Scott suggested that I work on to just give zombies like something else to work towards if they're playing for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like to make it so that like if you run up against a barricade and you're getting just absolutely destroyed, like you're getting shredded, or like, you know, you want to do debuffs, you get a little reward for that. And I think like that can work. It's just like we really, there's got to be some way to communicate to players better about the dark market, because everybody knows as human, you press F2, you get your guns, all that stuff. As a zombie, I just don't know how many people are actually fully utilizing it. Because you see these players go boss and they get like 10 brains every game. Like they know what's going on. I have no idea what they're doing, but they just do it. And again, maybe it's just they know how to use the bosses better. Maybe they know how to use the dark market. I really don't know.
Though. It's just awareness of your mechanics in that, because the dark market, it gives you a nice little nudge, but it's not anything massive. So, like, if you know how to play certain classes well, then you're going to dominate compared to anyone else. But I think the biggest thing to take is, you should be able to buy classes and demi-bosses from the class selection instead, where you can actually see the abilities and everything's in one place. You're going to end up with players that are just more informed about the classes too then.
I know this isn't a question, but somebody did post something interesting. They feel like the game is decided like halfway through. Like, because there are a lot of extreme games. Like there's a lot, and sigil protection kind of saves us from getting like wave 2 losses on the scoreboard, but like there is a lot of extreme thing, and this is part of the whole de-bloat decreep thing. Like we're trying to remove the crazy mechanics that let people like, oh, if I use this, then I just like kill everybody, or if I use this, then I get a gun that'll just instantly kill zombies or something like that. The more we simplify things, the easier it is to see these problems and sort of remove them. And again, like once the average players get risen up and they're able to really like see mechanics and they're able to more easily engage with things, then it's like then we won't have games that are super extreme. I just think, and like I don't know, I really don't know what horrors lurk within the code base that like certain players really intimately understand, but like I don't. That's why I try to study the game and play a lot. We're just gonna find them and we're gonna try to make it better. And yeah, I see it's called playing optimally. I know playing optimally is always gonna be good. But is there a way? Oh, I did have an interesting idea for that actually. Sorry, I'm going on a bit of a tangent here, but what if we spawn lesser evils in addition to bosses every wave? Maybe we could spawn a couple of them. Well, it goes from like
what purpose?
Well, keep in mind, Drew, keep in mind one thing. I'm sorry for interrupting you. Most of the games are usually decided from like wave 2 and like afterwards. So if you basically have a game where everyone is like rolling on the zombies and nothing is happening, then like even at wave 4, the zombie count is still gonna be the same. So if you don't get kills on wave 2, like it's kind of over from there. Like you have to do progress from that wave, otherwise you're kind of like.
I don't know. Sometimes you get stupid humans who get trimmed pushing out, or they just lose a sigil because of a bad call out.
So let me explain the lesser thing. We go from having one boss to 2 bosses in one wave. I don't know. Maybe it could be interesting to sort of make that a gradient. Maybe get like one boss and some demi bosses. Maybe get like one boss and a lesser. I'm just throwing out ideas out there. Because like I feel like if Zombie Team doesn't know how to use lessers, they're not in the game. Of course, all the changes that we were talking about would make it easier to utilize them, but maybe having some fixed difficulty in there too could help a bit. Because bosses are a fixed difficulty. You will get a boss every wave. You guaranteed to get 6 bosses, but you're not guaranteed to get any lessers. Maybe that could be a cool opportunity to add stuff. I don't know. I don't know how that would play.
Just suggesting that the butcher spawns like a gang of grave diggers.
And they all throw their shovels at once at the Cade? Yes, please.
Yeah.
But yeah, like if you want to implement something like that, just ensure that it's like on.
I would think about it a bit first. I'm just, I'm throwing things out there. We should get on to the next question. Sorry for taking so much time on that one, but that was a good one. Good, interesting question.
All right. Next question.
What is the next question?
Well, I guess we could add like a search bar for the data.
Will the weapon data?
I can give an insight on this.
Okay.
So, there is a internal system being developed for weapons that adds tags to weapons, and we have a lot of them are auto-generated, like high headshot multiplier or elemental ones. but we plan on along the time when Pooflet finishes the SunHud shop, or when it starts working on the SunHud shop, the weapon database might be. It might stay the same, or it might get revamped. I don't know if it's going to be a separate thing or not, but we're basically going to make it so that you can search weapons by tags, and or by name, or by anything else you can think of, and that is kind of our response to increasing weapons. So in case you want a fire weapon, you could just type in fire, and it'll list all the weapons in the game mode that has a fire elemental. So yeah, searching is going to be a lot better. I can't say the same thing for trinkets yet, but for weapons, it'll definitely get a lot better.
Yeah, trinkets are another fun one.
Trinkets are another beast on their own.
Yeah, but the question only mentioned weapons, so. Next.
Oh, no question. Using the banished sigil on objective maps.
Yeah, so the banished spawns in on objective maps. I'll read the question out. Can the limitation of having to feed banished points into the banished sigil be removed on objective maps? Most OBJs don't have enough farming time to buy anything before banished sigil becomes inaccessible. It would be cool to have additional weapon options later on in the map.
That will get changed properly when I do the shop and banished shop rework.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we're going to have anything until then. Oh, did we talk about the banished shop rework at all in a QnA yet? Like the plans or the potential plans for it?
I talked about Banish's role in objective last Q&A, and I talked about some plans with that, but I don't think we talked about the shop specifically.
Okay. All right, well, I can bring it up, I guess. So with the rework of the shop, which is also going to include magic stuff for tags and stuff, we were thinking about the future fate of the banished sigil, because it's kind of in an awkward spot right now. And we had a few proposals, and I think we narrowed it down to 2 proposals. The first one, which is mine, is that we integrate all the banished weapons into the shop, but under its own tab. And the only way you can access those weapons is if enough people link the Sigil Rift that wave. You then gain access to all those banished items just for that wave, and then you're going to have to link it again. What this would mean is that we would also remove all insanity effects and any debuffs from purchasing from those, and then we would have to move all the insanity effects to some other mechanic that would dish them out. So I just wanted to push the banished more towards pushing out your team, and if enough people do it, then you would gain access to the shop. You'd see like some sort of bar during the intermission or inside the shop of you need this many people to link the Sigil Rift, and then you can access it. Or we could be a bit more selfish and just say if you've linked the Rift yourself, then you are allowed to access the Banish tab. So that would solve the issue on objective maps, because we could just always let people then use the Banish shop. The other proposal that I think Bucket talked about, maybe Magic as well, was I think that was the choice as well, where I think was it a random banished rift spawns or something? I'm not sure what the other one was. Something to do where I don't know what it was actually.
That was
he posted Firestorm posted the thing in the chat.
Yeah, that was the other choice.
Yeah, I think these are interesting options. A lot of them are reliant on us balancing drop points too, which
it's gonna make drops even more important than before, because now you also have a shop to take care of.
Yeah, I
like
drop
the idea behind Banish Sigil being like a rift that you have to link. Like having 2 types of rifts and you can either choose to link one or the other. Will be interesting because like if you have time and you link both of them, you get benefit.
I think people would complain if they have to do too much during an intermission, though.
Yeah, because sometimes intermissions can be quite bad. I mean, it's also a problem like if a boss like really doesn't want humans to get a rift, they can just like say, "I'm going butcher," and then just like sit in a corner and wait.
Or you get a
and
couple
just,
lesser evils just waiting.
Yeah, the Cinder Thug walks out from behind
Yeah.
like a pole, like in a cartoon,
Yeah.
and he just decks you.
Yeah, see, that's why I wanted to just integrate it with the Sigil Rift, because that is something that people are already used to. Everyone knows as soon as the wave's over, everyone just starts pushing out together to just link in. And people don't really want to stray away from, those marching ants towards the Sigil Rift because they know that they're going to get picked off. Whereas if you're in the Congo line, you're safer. So people feel more confident to stick together. So we haven't decided yet which option we're gonna do. But if we do decide on mine, then of course I'll be implementing everything myself.
If we're done with that question, I think I want to address some of the things that are being said in chat.
Yeah, sure.
So there's a lot of people saying blood armor is dead.
It's not.
Bro,
Go
you know
on.
blood armor has more base resistance than it's ever had. It has
It's not dead.
80% resistance base.
Anyone that thinks melee is dead or blood armor is dead, they're just gaslighting or trolling.
They
They're
really
dumb.
are. They're like, oh my god, man. I don't know.
If they're saying certain melee weapons are bad, that's different. But melee in general is not bad.
The hard-coded counters, that is a good point. There are some things where it's like, I have blood armor, I suffer. Well, Red Marrow and I think Lacerator are the only big ones.
Well, Red Marrow is an exception because it's just a boss. That's its gimmick where it sucks your blood. That's fine. Lacerator,
I think a lot of the other
ones. I think Lacerator steals blood armor anymore.
It does. It does.
I need to fact check.
Yeah, I last time I looked at it, it dealt 50% of your bleed as damage, and then it attacked your blood armor directly for a certain percentage of damage or something like that.
Oh, yep.
Oh, Parasite. Parasite's another good one. Yes, Parasite does.
50% of the damage dealt by Lacerator also steals your blood armor. Yeah, we could probably remove that. That was added for like when blood armor was too good and rampant.
Yeah, like 100% reduction in blood armor.
Again, I think Parasite should be like the only demi-boss that should affect your blood armor, because I just think it makes sense thematically that a Parasite would be sucking your blood armor. I think that's okay, but I don't think Lacerator needs it. I think Lacerator is already really powerful and kind of overtuned. So I can just remove the blood armor bonus damage from Lacerator.
We did get another question that was in here. If we're done with that, somebody did post the Dino question. We had an Ember system on maps that never tend to get a good win rate. Will it return one day instead of an XP bonus? Correct me if I'm wrong. I think the XP does translate to an Ember bonus, but like this discreetly giving Ember, I don't know if that exists, and honestly I don't know why it would be removed. I think it's fun. I think anything to get people to try. Oh, well, I mean, it always is like. I don't think it was removed. If it was removed, I don't know, but.
Yeah, I don't know what happened because like we used to have 14K maps at some point, and now it's just like nowhere to be seen.
I don't think anyone would remove that. That doesn't.
Well, I mean, there are some things that could be removing it right now. Like
maybe like
the win rate.
Someone like
the win rate might just be so high it'll never happen. No, I don't think it's that high either. I don't think that's the case. Who knows? Well, that's something to look into. That is one thing to look into at least. Ember, because I like Ember bonuses. Of course, people will look at them and say, "Oh, this is a great map to just kill myself because I don't believe in my team." But
yeah, I will definitely do that.
I mean, everything does that though.
Yeah,
People
you
will
know,
just
incentive to try
15K
hard.
map? Oh my god, I'm gonna die for sure, dude.
it's just like people decide if they want to play the game or not, and if they don't want
Yeah.
to play the game, I mean, there's not like much you can do about that other than crow them. I'm not talking about actually people who like play zombie to play zombie. I'm talking about people who actively try to just like, I hate this team, screw these people, I'm done. I'm just gonna sabotage them, kill myself after the beginning of the game, and then just be a horrible person.
I don't know. I don't think you should ever be crowed for just wanting to play as a zombie.
Of
I
course
think
not.
if you're
Every game
if you're
needs
throwing
antagonists.
props into the gas and nailing and sabotaging your team that way, then sure. But
Well, I don't think you're getting crowed for that. I think you're just getting banned for that.
yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, the crowing thing, whatever.
I honestly didn't even I don't know about any of the punishments. I don't know about crowing and all that
The
stuff.
one
I was
situation I know about
saying it as a joke.
crowing was when a group of people banded together to start Z-maining and just plummeted the win rate, and then I think Scott had to intervene. But it's whatever. It's not
Yeah.
my
Well,
place to say anything on that.
I think there is a
Once.
pretty negative attitude that people have when it comes to we're losing. What do we do? Oh, I'm gonna punish my teammates because they're just bad, and that's on them
Yeah,
morally. They should morally
Yeah,
be
I'm
good.
gonna punish my team that is trying to play the game normally because I want ZE. I want to play fucking tower defense.
I
So I'm
didn't say
gonna
that
ZE
word.
for
I
that.
didn't. I didn't say ZE. I do.
Yeah, I know, but I know people are gonna imply that it's either ZE or tower defense. Unlikely tower defense, but the other word, yes. Yeah, see,
It's been a thing throughout history,
see,
before the ZE thing, even before it.
I'm pushing the buttons, dude.
There's people that say that humans don't deserve to win. Like, my team sucks. I'm good, right? Like, I'm a great player, but my team sucks. So I'm just not gonna try, and I'm just gonna make them suffer again and
Yeah,
again and again because I need to punish them or things like that. That is the most counterintuitive thing. You want the team to get better. You got to sit there and educate them, bro. What the hell's the
I'm
point
pretty
of
sure.
punishing
I'm
them?
pretty
They're
sure
never gonna learn.
there are some people that just want to play the game and they just find themselves involved with oh, I don't want to play ZS, I want to play something else, and I'm getting indirectly punished for playing the game normally. Why?
That's a separate. That is a separate issue, but yes, that is pretty valid
Yeah,
too.
it's kind of involved with what you're saying, but yeah.
Well, we just need to make it so if you get a win streak, you get to play ZE. That would solve the problem, right?
I mean, you're gonna see 25 fucking wins today, then.
I hope so. And then we can look at all the builds that are there, and we could just start sledgehammer nerfing all of them. That's how you fix the win rate. There we go. It all makes sense now.
Okay, we got
Anyway,
another question.
yeah, we've got more
before we have to
questions.
move on.
Can we ban this blasphemy guy? He's
Next
abusing
one.
the. He posted a joke. He posted a joke question. Can we get him out of here? Thank you.
Yeah, I've got no comment on that map. As funny as it would be to talk about that, we should
Yeah,
move
so
on.
I kind of wanted to wait for Bufflet to be done with his update, but in case he wanted to do something himself, then I will gladly let him do that.
Okay.
And then
So,
if he
so we
doesn't
talk
do
about
anything,
medic guns.
yeah, Sumi's talking about medic related
Okay.
stuff.
Yeah. So when I added a bunch of medic guns, I did sort of. They kind of do it just for copy paste weapons, just with different ammo types, which I'm aware. The plan is to make all of them more unique so that they don't all just do the exact same thing and function the same way. Because it is just sort of copy pasting, which I don't like. I think some of the things were making the Seraph do something for headshots, the Exonerator do something with piercing, maybe heal in a bit more of a unique ways as well. Because all of them, they just heal the same way. They just shoot out 2 heal beams and that's it. But that is something I'm gonna take a look at with the medic update. So all the weapons will feel more unique.
Dude, med ammo for the occult? New medic gun. Check it out. Might do that. Maybe. I didn't have a good idea for it before, but I might do that too.
All right, there
Yeah,
was
to answer
something
the
I
question,
wanted.
go on.
Tufa, you can talk.
Okay, so to answer the question, with the medic update, I am going to be looking at making all the medic weapons feel more unique in the way they heal, I suppose. That's the main thing, really.
Yeah, it's interesting seeing medic move towards a more offensive play style. I like that direction a lot.
You still have your dedicated medical tools as well, because you got the med kit, you got the rejuvenator. Xerxes is working on his medical tool as well, so you'll still have your options. Oh, transfusion grenade as well. I think that's a bit offensive, but there are still options there. But I think we do want to have more like combat focused medics in general, so you're not just focused on healing the entire time. You can still shoot and contribute that way as well if you wanted to.
So
There's somebody
Pufa,
saying coconut rework. I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
There is one thing I want to ask, but I'm kind of afraid of what I'm gonna say because I don't want to get people too hyped. But like, science medics are being complaining that they're always lacking on ammo and all that stuff. So, for example, why instead? For example, I'm gonna propose something, and you're free to just say no or yes. Like, for example, if now my weapon uses assault rifle and med ammo, why instead of making it so when you resupply you just get 30 assault rifle ammo, you get like 15 med ammo and then 15 assault rifle, so you get like a split between the two?
I don't know, that sounds like it might be a bit annoying, because what I actually did is all the medic guns are more efficient now. I think the Deacon only uses 3 med ammo. The medic pistol only uses 3. I think most will only use 3 or 4 med ammo instead now, and the healing will still be pretty good. Like Honor Dev can also vouch for me that overall the healing efficiency is going to be much better after this update. Plus, with the changes that I did to singing chime and the other trinkets where they only proc if you heal 7 or more. That's been changed in the next update, where if you heal less than 7, you still have a chance of proccing the effect depending on how much. So if you heal 1 health, it's not very good. But if you heal 5 or 6, there's a high likelihood that you will proc the effect.
Oh, I see what you mean.
It's going to be better. So we are going to see medics profiting more and not just burning through their med ammo as much with the changes I do have planned. But as I make those changes, I will be posting them in the proposal, just like I did with part 1, just like all the future change logs, so people can see exactly what I'm doing. Okay, next question.
This is a good one. This is a really good one.
You can read it out.
Since the ancient times of ZS, banished effects have existed to punish people accordingly by the tier they bought. With that being bygone, are there plans to remove insanity effects in general, or remove the more gameplay impacting ones that alters your vision, where you can largely see or give you a handicap of crouching down? They serve no other purpose other than to cause grief and a nuisance for something simple. I think Pooflet, you brought up that there was going to be an insanity tier rework or something similar.
Yeah.
So if we're going to go down the route of the banished shopping inside of the normal shop, I don't think you should receive insanity effects for that. As to where all the insanity effects go, we don't want to just delete them or whatever. They should go to something, and a lot of the effects are pretty cool. Some are quite annoying, really cool. I agree, but some of them are actually pretty cool. And if we could sort of throw them into some sort of unique mechanic or a zombie class or something,
some unique item.
It's up to Magic as well what he thinks. we should do with them, really. I think if we just move them out of the banished and do something else with them, that'd be cool to keep them.
Yeah, I mean, a zombie class would be pretty neat. I mean, there technically is one that does that, but I don't. He's not accessible in the game, but he does do it. There is an item in the game right now, pretty rare, that allows you to opt into all of the disabled banished effects or the disabled insanity effects. It is quite rare and it is quite obscure, but you can still experience them. And there's a lot of good stuff in there. A lot of really talented work. I mean, God, the Big Goal Game Show is like such a cool mechanic, and I've never had it happen to me naturally in the game. When it was in the game, because like I just never bought from the banished that much, but playing through that's funny, and I love seeing people die to lasers. It's funny. But blocking all the banished weapons behind, opting into that, yeah, that's a problem. So we do need to find some way to actually make that work. And who knows? I mean, there's always dumb mechanics that you can put in the game to still have them be accessible, but not be like a balance consideration or whatever. It's like a funny opt-in thing. Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah.
They could get insane from fishing too much, maybe.
Yeah, that's a dumb mechanic. No, who would put that in the game?
I think what Xerxes said, where maybe the nightmare status effect, because that's purely cosmetic. So it would make sense that you could then get random insanity effects from being inflicted with nightmare, maybe, or as the greater evil. One of those two things.
Well, Nightmare is I think Nightmare is already a really great status. If I'm gonna be honest, every time I get hit with Nightmare, it sends me into absolute terror and panic because I have no idea what my health is. I have no idea what just happened to me. I think putting that on Nightmare would be fraught with peril. Maybe some of the weaker ones, sure, but
yeah,
I think it's already extremely effective.
Ones I think would be okay.
Like the screen crack. I think the screen crack would be actually really cool on Nightmare. Yeah, I would love that. Sweet. Maybe if you overload, if you reach 50 stacks of Nightmare.
Nightmare's gonna get stacks as well now. Shit.
Yeah, dude, that would be cool. And then the higher stacks, the more insanity effects you get. That would actually be pretty neat.
But have an insane stack debuff.
Oh, when you get up to 50, it'll like when you get up to 50, it'll like just give you a lethal effect, and you gotta dodge the laser. We should do that.
Okay.
Well, do we have any more questions?
I don't think we have. Well, yeah, sort of the reason why we end up just talking amongst ourselves because we're not really getting any questions. That's why.
Oh, there is one thing I want to bring up if we have nothing to talk about. Where recently we had some adjustments to the boss tiers, and that caused some issues with the scoreboard. I think we could do a little. One thing that I really want to do is I want to give every boss tier a distinct color and like have that be consistent throughout the UI. We already kind of do that, but it's not like a formal system. So I was thinking like because we have like zombies and then elites and then like demis. Like there's this whole progression, and it's some of it's not clear to zombies. Like lesser evils and bosses have the same color on the scoreboard. So one of the things that I think would be cool is if we could like create those colors and like I kind of made the normal scoreboard like that right now, but I was thinking like we could extend it to Sun HUD and the kill feed and all that stuff.
It would be good if we had like a certain amount of colors for every tier, because right now it's sort of just like hard coded and copy pasted like 2 or 3 spots. Mm-hmm. They're not identical, which is why we had like funny things on different scoreboards and that.
Yeah. Well, I created a table for it for the classic one, and I'm thinking about bringing it over to Sun HUD. I just didn't have the time earlier.
That's fine.
Yeah, I think that would be a really nice quality of life update. Okay, we actually did get another question. What's the status of the lunchbox update and the upcoming cooking station update?
Yeah.
That's
about that. So, lunchbox, cooking station.
I mean, I could talk about the cooking station.
I mean, the cooking station, I do have an animation for it. I do have ideas for the SDK for it. I just haven't had a chance to sit down and work on it. Same thing for the lunchbox, although a lot less has been done about it. the lunchbox is kind of just in the theoretical stage because we don't really know if how like it'll look, how the menus would look, how it would be faster than the current implementation of just scrolling through your inventory for food.
Yeah.
It's all a challenge in trying to make it faster and also intuitive to use. And also, keeping the visuals looking good so that we don't have a lot of... Because it's a very tempting to just throw everything into a menu, but then we lose all the nice food SDKs that have been developed over the years.
Oh, we would never put it into a menu. You're going to have food as a weapon. I think that removing that would kind of suck because it makes it really easy to deal with. Like, oh, I have a food item. I'm going to click and eat it. If it's like I'm staring at a menu and I'm just like now I am going to consume the food and then I wait on a progress bar, it's like you lose the tactile experience.
So keeping all that while also making it faster and more streamlined is a challenge. With the cooking station, that's just a hopefully by the end of summer, fingers crossed.
Whoa, by the end of God. It is in the game right now. There is a prop for it, right? A model.
That's because I accidentally pushed the master.
Well, what are the plans for it? Because people were sending me as models for it and stuff.
The cooking station was just going to be it's going to be exactly like Skyrim, basically. You press E on a deployable and you kind of enters a cooking animation, and then you can access recipes that are only accessible with it. Cooking the food immediately triggers the AoE effect. And basically, you'd be able to just, ideally, you'd be able to never leave the cooking pot for a wave. And still,
the only thing that I would request out of that is to be able to have the food SDKs and like be able to have the meals on you, because I think as like a chef, it's really nice to be able to be like, I'm gonna prepare that, or like I'm gonna have this thing that I'm going to use at this time, because I know like if I know that a lot of cold marrows are coming or whatever, I could like make a cool warmth meal or something, and that would like protect people from the frost, or like, oh God, they're going this thing, I gotta make something with more cleanse. Like I think those would be interesting as preparation, because like having another deployable, it's like, no, I gotta manage the box and I want to use this mechanic, and it's like, but I need to be at the box, and it's like the issue with the resupply crate, and that's kind of what I want to avoid with. I know I added another deployable. It was technically Magic's deployable, but I made it good enough for main. But that's getting removed. It's not real. It's not real deployable. It's only for summer.
Yeah, the deployable was added mostly as a reason to have an excuse to make a third-person animation. But yeah, I see what you mean. That's kind of the reason it was branded for summer. But we still have a good month of summer left, so.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and I still have stuff to add for summer, like the coconuts. I have no idea what the state the coconuts are in right now, so that's why it's at my to-do list. It's not in order.
Coconuts are ancient.
I had a cap point on the cooker, which was like an oasis. It was an oasis where you could fish, and you just by entering the cap point, you got an ethereal fishing rod, so you didn't have to invest in the cap point.
Oh, that's cool.
Dude, I'd be totally down. Dude, I was thinking about like a fishing rod that wouldn't have line of sight checks, but I'm not putting that on the base one. I think that's a little too spicy.
It was mostly like a conjured fishing rod. So you enter the cap point, you get a conjured fishing rod, and when you leave the cap point, it disappears, so that you're able to participate without having to invest.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
We got another good question in here. Not sure if it's been talked about, but Okami's video where he got 22 artifacts before getting the bounty he wanted. Is there anything that has been changed to improve upon that? Bounties. Nobody's asked about bounties yet, dude. What are you guys doing? You're not asking the hard-hitting questions.
In the artifact chest is still completely random. I was under the impression at one point that if you skipped the selection, that you wouldn't see those again. But
yeah, me too. I thought that was a mechanic. No, that was totally a mechanic. I remember that being a thing. Maybe it was only for that. Because like you used to get bounty trinkets, like or bounty, trinkets in the bounty system, and you would like pick one, and then it would give it to you, and then if you hit skip, you wouldn't see those ever again. It's like, what happened to that? Yeah,
is that real?
That should be.
Is that a real thing? Am I remembering that right?
It used to be like that. No, it absolutely used to. I don't think any of the
in more more than likely it got broken when Point Save was doing
really?
this whole rebalancing bounties for its own server thing.
Yeah, Point Save broke it. Blame Point Save players for that one. Don't actually do that.
Yeah, so okay, that sounds like it might be a bug then, because
Yeah,
if you're
dude, Little
skipping
Corn.
bounties, I wouldn't expect to see those again unless you ran out of options.
Little Corn. I'm sorry, I gotta talk
I'll
about
make
this
a
one
note.
bounty.
I'll make a
I have
note.
no
Bounty
idea.
skipping.
I have no idea what to do about Little Corn, dude.
What's
What
it
is
do
there to
again?
do? It used to give you fine dining, or not fine dining. It used to give you Last Supper. So like it would spread the food at like max value for a couple of players, but it didn't work with Spread Feast, and I had all these weird interactions, and like I didn't want to go through the trouble of recreating those interactions because one, they're just like really, really good. It's just like you get that, and you just get more everything from food. Like it's way too strong. Like it's not just like a food effectiveness buff. It's not like this or that. It's just you get more. Now, maybe there can be an interesting interaction with it where like it increases your radius, or maybe it increases the amount of the percentage of healing that can go to people. Like I don't know, but it's a trinket that's designed to work with a skill. Like and in the past, if you had the skill, the trinket wouldn't work at all. So like I don't know what to do with it, man. Bonus temp
Wait,
health. I mean,
so
sure.
what skills do you have right now? It's just spread feast that exists. You don't have fine dining anymore, right?
No. I was thinking about re-adding fine dining, but the issue is like them interacting. It's like you get a lot of issues.
Well, do you need it if you already have a mechanic that shares food amongst players? Because
Well,
that's
that's
just
the
gonna
thing.
complicate things.
It was unnecessarily complicated, and they had all
Yeah,
these weird interactions that would just like break one skill or the other one. And
yeah,
I think simplifying that was a
yeah.
good
Just
move.
have one. Yeah, just one skill if you want to share food or not. I don't think you need anything else with
No,
that,
you didn't
really.
need, but no, you didn't need spread feast to use little corn. But if you had spread feast, it would break.
Okay, but you don't need little. Okay, I see what you mean.
So like you had to not take the skill and take another skill, and you get more
So
spreads.
I
And it would
think
be
that
useful.
I think corn just needs to move away from anything to do with spreading, like the other
Yeah,
players. Then
but then it's like, well, where does it go? What does it do? And that's the thing that I'm having trouble with. Like, how
just
do
have to
you?
make a new food trinket or
Yeah, it's
something
like
cool.
we
I
do. We need to
guess.
make another one. It's like, what do we do? Double tap to find a food item. Play Master Chef. I really think giving people more freebies is not the thing that the food system needs at this point. You can get plenty of food from playing Master Chef, the fridge. You got Forager. You got preparedness. You got all this stuff, man.
You throw out a temporary deployable that up to a certain amount of people can press E on it to gain a slice. You spawn a Minecraft cake.
Hey, you also got fish.
That'd be pretty cool. A Minecraft cake deployable.
Yeah.
As a bounty with a very long cooldown, so you can quickly eat and heal up. There you
Whole
go.
team popping sushis. Yeah, dude, sushi's cool. I didn't actually look at the stats for sushi. I completely forgot. I'm gonna redo the way that food stacking buffs are written in the game right now. Right now, they use an array, and like the element at position 1 is the buff. The element at position 2 is like the duration. The element at position 3 is the point multiply. Like
That's base though.
it's great, but don't use an array for that. Use a table. Give these things names. I feel like a lot of these bugs are just because like max stack, I'm setting that to nil. Like whatever, I don't care. And then it's like, oh, you can just put like 50 stacks on this. I'm guilty of this, right? I'm guilty of this. I didn't understand how the stack system worked. Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. I'm gonna fix it. I'm gonna make it more explicit. But yeah, just making these things more clear. Because yeah.
Oh, we have
The
another question, I
oh, we
think,
do.
from Chroma. Despite the recent discussion regarding melling being fine, it is currently narrowed down to a very select few weapons. Is it just saying that there's not many good melee weapons? Is that it? Am I reading this right?
I have ideas for this actually. Cooking. So melee, it's difficult. Okay, it's hard to balance melee weapons. There's a lot less, I think, room for variety than guns, because guns you can shoot projectiles, you can do all this stuff. No, exotic cookbook. We're not talking about that one. That one, bad idea from day one.
I mean, me and Farnstorm, we did do 2 streams where we had a look at the weapons that were underperforming and buffed them, and then like tone down the best ones for both guns and melee. I'm happy to do that again, where it's been well, the stats have been saved for quite a few weeks and months now, so we could definitely have a look and see what weapons are bad again, just buff them. I'm okay with
I think
something like
I think the
again.
tombstone could use a buff. I'm joking.
So I think you're always going
but-
to have certain weapons that are just not as good, because a lot of them are very similar. So you just got to find the ones with the most DPS.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a couple of niches for melee. Like for me, I think one of the most interesting melee weapons is the mop, the janitor's mop that was added. I think that's really cool. I mean, it turns out like these cool little side play styles are like really interesting to me. Like the fishing rod, the chef weapons, and now the janitor. Maybe that's another role that people could play. Like deals with environmental hazards. That's cool. That's a really interesting thing.
But
Maybe
the problem is, it's like, for example, we kind of was planning to remove the poles from balls,
yeah.
and so doing that is kind of gonna make that weapon useless. If that makes any sense.
I have ideas for it. I'm cooking ideas for it. Don't worry.
You can make
I just haven't gotten around to them.
The zombies trip over and the ragdoll.
Because like I like the idea behind that weapon, but I find it way too niche to make use of it.
So you know what is very prominent? Gunk projectiles. What if we made it clean up gunk projectiles off the floor? Not like a lot. Like if there's a lot of gunk zombies, you'd get overwhelmed, of course. But I mean, they stick around for a little bit. It could be worthwhile to have something that like maybe has like an ability, or maybe it could be a build-up thing, so you're not just like sitting there hitting the ground. Maybe like as a build-up, it would clean all the gunk on the ground and like prevent it from being placed in a certain radius. I don't know. Maybe
Honestly,
there could be something with that.
I like that idea. This could be an excuse to also add Tarmish.
I like the idea of mopping up humans toting gunk.
Yeah, that too. It would like cleanse gunk and it would like make everybody clean. Tarmesh. Okay, so why was that crashing the server? Why was Gunk Pus crashing the server? Does anybody know that?
Gunk Pus was kind of like coded very awkwardly. I don't know. It's kind of like half.
I don't know. Gunk Pus can stay in hell for all I care. I think it sucks.
I think
I don't know what the
server
fuck
performance.
It's kind of like you use it once and it lags the hell out of the server.
Oh yeah, that's because everyone was going gunk zombie and the projectiles were lasting so long.
I think removing the blast attack actually did a lot to improve the performance of gunk projectiles. I tried to fix it, but I hit a funny Lua moment. Everybody remembers the Professor Drew Gunk update. That was very good. I know how to fix that though. There's a lot of things in the game that when they do blast Alex, I will draw a very quick visual for this. So actually, I'll do it in a different color. So
here we go.
Here we go. So when you do a blast, Alec, right? I have a visual that's like a cross. Oh, it's off screen. It's like a cross, right? And then any entity or object in that cross will get a line drawn towards it. So like you get all of these traces. Because when you do an AoE attack, it's not just like being in the radius. It needs to do a trace. It needs to basically like almost fire a bullet to see if that object is within range or if it can see that object. So like it checks to see things that are in range, then it fires like a bullet at it and sees if it can hit it. The problem is that a lot of these functions, they don't just go for players, right? They go for literally everything. They go for projectiles. They go for props. They go for players on the same team. They go for players on the enemy team. It goes for literally everything. I don't know how much of an effect on performance this has, but your Gunk was a pretty bad offender of this. because it would explode at the end and it would just take in literally everything, including other gunk projectiles. And there was like a scaling complexity from there because you'd get like it was like a factorial sort of thing. It was crazy. There was just a lot of problems. So I found a way to do this. The blast functions have a flag that automatically culls things and doesn't do traces against them. I think that could improve performance, but it doesn't seem to be a major concern. I don't know, but who knows? Maybe there is some performance gain to be had there.
And maybe it's
this is not a graph. This is not a graph.
Oh, we have another question though. See if I can skip through this. Okay, so this is just on about bounties and bounty tokens. Bounty tokens have existed for a while, and there hasn't been any recent additions to my memory. Well, we got the Sentry bounties, the little turrets. There's been more bounty trinkets that has been removed. Is this just saying buffing underused bounties? Okay, is this just saying improve bounties that suck or something? I guess we could talk about why the elemental gems were moved into RNG, and the reason is they were the best DPS trinkets compared to the other ones. And it was too easy to just get 2 elemental gems going because a lot of the top score builds, they would run an innate elemental weapon, and then you pick up something like a plasma loop or whatever, and then you have like fire and pulse running. So to sort of help that, we just move them to the RNG, so it's less likely that you're going to get them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's
I think
tough.
the rest of the bounties, they're kind of okay-ish. I mean, melee bounties, and there's not many, I suppose.
About weapon switching bonds to make it more accessible. I mean, we could create an interface for that, but I don't know. Doing it off the Sweps print name, it's like that would be a little more complicated.
I'm sure in the future we may get more bounties, but I'd rather not just think of making new bounties for the sake of it. Like if we ever think, oh, maybe that'd be cool to have in the future or whatever, then sure. But adding content just for the sake of adding content, I don't think it's a good idea.
It's a dangerous game.
Yeah, we should definitely focus on making existing content better.
Absolutely. I think there's a lot of content in the game that's really cool and great. That I think has a lot of potential to be just fun to play with, but it's limited by either like bad visuals or like just it had a niche, but its niche was completely abolished. One weapon that I'm very interested in, and like this is the problem though, it's like you have to pick something and you have to say, well, I like this. I'm going to see if I can make this better. One thing that I'm going to look at is the hurler. I love the hurler. I think it's a really cool weapon that's been really, hurt over the years by insane nerfs and all that other stuff. I don't want to make it meta. I don't want to make it crazy. I just want to make it something that, like, when you use it and you play it correctly, it feels good and it feels rewarding. A lot of that's the visuals. A lot of that's, of course, like the damage and all that stuff. But the goal isn't really to make stuff like the best, but it's to make stuff fun. And if you play right, you get like these interesting challenges. I think that's cool. That's why the fishing system, like I am so engaged by it. Of course, it's not to make it like the meta thing to do. It's just like it's a fun side thing that if you get really good at it, you can hook zombies and yank them for big damage. And who knows, maybe a future rod could have cool effects on when you catch a fish from a zombie. Maybe it'll, like, I don't know, activate chargers or something. That'd be cool. Like, these are fun mechanics. But of course, if you're the super meta guy, you're gonna get the biggest hit scan gun and you're gonna just shoot zombies from downrange, and your niche is just you deal damage. You're going to use the best gun.
I think the majority of devs are in agreement that going forward, we're just going to try and improve all the existing content we have to the game instead of adding new stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
So more of the content is actually usable and balanced.
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting observation that I think lots of people have made over the years, is that ZS development sort of goes in peaks and troughs. Sometimes there's a period where we add stuff, and then there's a period where that stuff is refined. It's easiest to see in the seasonals. This summer might be a little bit weird because we're adding stuff towards the end, but usually lots of stuff is added
Yeah.
at the beginning, and then over the course of the seasonal, it's ultimately refined. And then when the season ends, it either abruptly gets removed and then added back later,
Yeah.
or sort of finds its place in the game mode.
Yeah.
I mean, people joke
Which I
about,
think is fine. It's fine to add new seasonal content because that's exciting. I'm okay with that.
yeah, people joke about seasonals being a test bed for ZS, where all bets are off, and that's kind of
That's
true.
how I feel about it. I love it, honestly. I think it's awesome. Like, I'm adding content, and I'm just like, this is gonna get removed, so I don't really care. Like,
Yeah, if it
I don't know
works-
if anybody noticed.
if it
I added
works,
back the Annabelle.
If it works,
I added
it
the
stays.
T4 Annabelle back to the game.
If it works, it stays. If it doesn't, it gets removed anyway. So it's the perfect.
So yeah, it's pretty much the best time to experiment and like see if something sticks or doesn't. And in the
Yeah.
end, you're kind of not losing out on anything because you're like, if it's good, it's just gonna stay around. If it's not, then good. It's failed experiment. Also,
Yeah.
I want to say something about a certain trinket. I know I'm gonna make a lot of people upset over this, but I have to bring it up. Pooflet, we gotta do something with Crimson Band, dude. We definitely do need to do something. We need to
I'm
do
not
something
talking.
with
I
Crimson
don't know.
Band,
I don't
and
know about this one.
specifically Bittersweet. I don't like the fact that you need two trinkets to make one like
Yeah.
usable.
I think Bittersweet is a cool trinket because you can trigger things like panic earlier and other like on low life stuff. That's okay. Bittersweet's cool. Crimson Band, I don't like.
Crimson Band could like you could make something better than that. To be completely honest, something more interesting or even like better.
Yeah,
Without
I don't
having
know
to-
what that is yet. So unless I can think of something cool or someone can suggest something to me, it's probably just going to get vaulted as part of the Scorched Earth update until we can think of something better to do with it, really.
It's gonna go to the place. It's gonna go to the place where all content goes after it's removed.
I hope you guys realize that Crimson Band, like, it's not gonna get destroyed or it's gonna get buffed, but our intent is to make the trinket not rely on Bittersweet.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I did experiment with making it so you just deal more damage, more health you're missing, but people didn't like it, so that was reverted.
Yeah. Mm.
I don't know what else. And I don't like trying to think too much about how am I going to rework this. If it doesn't work right now, I'd rather just disable it until we can think of something better in the future.
well, about that, because a lot of people are like,
Bloodline
"Eh,
as well, actually.
you're gonna disable something and you're never gonna add it back. Example, Icy Heart. The problem of Icy Heart is, I'm gonna say it myself, it's very hard for it to come back because of how it's like how it works. You have to completely change how it works to bring it back. That's the problem.
Yeah.
I can't remember
Frostbite
what it is.
damage is just crazy, man.
All dots,
Yeah.
frostbite. Okay.
It's fucking wild, man. Like that breaks it turns everything into ice, man. Like it removes the identity of so many items in the game and makes them do something completely different. It's like it's cool. But like, how do you balance that, man? I think Ice Bite does give Frostbite, doesn't it?
Yeah, and Frostbite is pretty much it's pretty much a better ice. Like I don't know what was Story thinking when he made that.
Isn't frostbite a unique mechanic to a certain gun or something?
It is. Yeah.
Right. So when no. Wait. When it was first released, this trinket, it was released with this dedicated status, which was Frostbite. But then it was added to some other weapons, and it kind of detached from the trinket. So because it used to be an exclusive status for this trinket, but now it's like on a lot of weapons, I guess.
Yeah. That's another thing I discussed with Dark One, where a lot of these cool mechanics are just generalized like Reaper stacks used to only be a thing for the UMP, and now
Yeah, I kind of don't like that we take stuff that is supposed to make a weapon or certain weapons unique, but it then gets like plastered on so many weapons. Like for example, the recent one, Wither, like it is on so many weapons that it's not even funny.
Yeah,
I have no idea what Wither is. I am not naive.
I think the
What does
dogs
Wither
just
do?
do more damage. Is that right?
Oh yeah, no, I remember. It does. It makes
He
dots deal
rounds
more
them all.
damage based on how many dots are on the enemy. So like, if there's a lot of people using elementals, they just win. There is one thing that is completely unique to a single weapon in the game, and I don't think anybody knows it. Chat, what mechanic do you think I'm talking about? What mechanic is unique to only one weapon in the game?
Fishing, bro, fishing.
No. Fishing doesn't have any unique statuses. There's one. Well, it's not a status technically, but it is. I mean, I guess it is. I think it is. It has a name. It's a unique thing. It's only on one crossbow.
Crossbow?
Yeah. Minotaur? Dude, I have no idea. I don't know what the Minotaur is.
Oh, that stat is a fucking meme.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Vlad Leech? Almost. I mean, come on. Vlad Leech? I don't know if Vlad Leech works. I'm sorry. I don't. Okay, maybe this is one of many. No leech. It has nothing to do with blood armor. Not radiation. No. Hurler. Nope. No. A status. Like, well, it's not a status. It's X Spark. X Spark on the Tiamat.
Brother, that's not
That
even a
doesn't count.
status.
It's not a
That
status. I
doesn't
didn't say it
count.
was a
That is an
status.
internal status. Doesn't count. No.
The X Spark,
What are you
dude.
talking about? That
Why
is an
haven't we
internal status.
It is a stat. Wait, it is a status?
It's not. It's an internal
Okay,
thing.
that's what I said. It's not a status. Yeah, that's what I said. It says it's not a status.
So,
It's a unique mechanic. Only on that.
do you guys
If we
wanna
made it a
try
status, it would be
and,
Professor
fine.
Drew is like,
uh,
there's a weapon that has a unique command, and then talks about a weapon from 2018.
Yeah, bro. You wanna know why no one knows about that? Because the weapon is shit.
What? The Tiamat?
Yeah, this garbage, dude. Do not use it. Like it's actually
I'm sorry.
garbage.
Do you want it to be OP? Again?
No, I don't. Because I already
Tiamat
played
Massacre?
it. I remember when it was fucking OP, dude. You don't wanna bring that back.
Dude, what is the Minotaur? What is the
It's a
Minotaur?
shitty weapon. It's a bad weapon with a bad
Hold on.
status. It's
I'm
a
pulling up the
shotgun.
code.
Minotaur is a double-barreled shotgun that has its unique status because it has an injectable animation
Like,
on build.
Like I appreciate that Waza was trying to like do something new, but like it's a double barrel that gives you regen. So on paper you think, oh, this is a roamer weapon, but when you try it, it's so bad, it's laughable.
Yeah, we're gonna see bolt weapons come back, gentlemen. I will unpunish bolt weapons. I don't know why they're punished, and maybe I can't do it. But goddamn, that slinger, dude, I love the slinger. I think it's great. It's
But yeah,
fun.
generally it was like, oh, this weapon is 100% for roaming, and then, yeah, it was not for it.
Wait. There's an issue with that. There's an issue with that description. It says honed. What is honed? What is honed? When was honed at?
It's Jover.
That doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. It's not real.
Sorry, bros. I only know +2.
Yeah, +2, or +1. Yeah, +1 is honed, right?
No, Hunt is +2. Sturdy is +1.
Oh, you're right. Damn it. I'm not a dude. There goes my ZS trivia. I'm not a real ZS player, guys.
Damn, Drew.
guys, we're
Washed up.
approaching the 2-hour mark. Do you want to move on to the next segment of the Q&A, which is,
We have another
I
segment.
don't know, either a lightning round or a
I
clown
thought we were gonna wrap
hour?
up
I don't
once we
know.
got through all the
What we
questions.
thinking?
We did an hour and 45 minutes of questions.
Yeah.
A lot of good discussion, though. I mean, I think it's been really positive.
I think a lot of
Very
the questions this time were useful to go through. But to answer the whole thing about bounties, we'd rather just improve all the existing content. Don't focus as much on new content because there's a lot of existing content that does need buffing and looking into. So that's gonna try to be our focus. I think overall as well, we'll try to have be a more coherent dev team going forward, anyways, because I think in the past there's been quite a lot of controversy amongst the devs, like revert wars and stuff. One dev doing one thing, the other disagreeing and stuff. I mean, it wasn't really a question or anything, but I just feel like people need to know that we're going to try to be a better team going forward and just try to have like one vision.
I think everybody has. I think the vision is just the culmination of what everybody thinks ZS should be, and then trying to figure out well, what really works. Because some people want a version of ZS, they think ZS should be something that ultimately it's not fun to play. Not like from their own intentions, but it's like if your vision is, we're gonna give the zombie an insta kill, and it's gonna be really cool, and then it just empties the server. Like that's not a good vision.
At the end of the day, like you kind of want everyone to have fun. So yeah, fun does play a big role.
It's a hard line to walk. You got to walk the line of, I know this needs to be added because without it, there's no game, and also like the community wants this, so I think this is a good idea. Like, everybody's gonna have those things, and we're gonna come to bar. I mean, we say a lot, we talk a lot about things, and we're very confident about them, and you get in little fights, you say mean things, all this stuff happens, but at the end of the day, we all have one vision, and that is above everything else. The overarching vision is to make a game that's fun to play and you can come back to every day and be like, man, I'm having a great time. It was really funny running outside the barricade and seeing that guy scream and die. That's like the core ZS for me. That's like the essence of ZS. It's just like those crazy moments where it's like, I'm gonna come on and I'm gonna top score with like something stupid, or I'm gonna just come on and like, try to play this role or try to top score and just like watch everything go wrong in a chaotic way.
And then
or maybe you win.
Okay, so we have 10 minutes left. Should we just allow people on stage? Because I think we did a good job this time of answering all the questions. I don't think we need a lightning round or anything like that, to be honest. I think people had more than enough opportunity to get their questions answered.
I kind of didn't want to Drew Magic, but I guess that's for another time, unfortunately.
We'll let people on stage. You get 30 seconds. You're getting kicked if you take more than that. Let's do this.
I wonder who's gonna be the first person, Drew. Are you gonna guess?
No, I have genuinely no idea who the first person's gonna be.
It's okay. You'll know. Oh, I didn't expect
Poochie.
that.
Okay. I want to talk about Lich Jump being removed, okay? I do not like the fact that was removed because you could play around the fact of humans not cading windows. I think taking advantage of human incompetence is big in this game as a zombie. Getting that removed because wave two. On wave two. That getting removed because of human incompetence
5 seconds.
doesn't do good. Lich, it should be aggressive. It shouldn't be passive.
Okay.
That's my spiel. Okay.
Goodbye.
Bring it back, please. Please bring it back.
Okay, here's gonna be my discussion on that. The fact that Lich could jump into windows on maps that aren't balanced around zombies being able to get into windows early on, at least. Full health zombies into windows on wave 2. That's insane. That's putting an incredible burden on humans that never existed before. And hey, it led to a lot of games where it's just like, oh, Lich is inside. Oh, hey, there's a bunch of bots inside. Oh, hey, we're dead. That's not fun. If we didn't have sigil protection, that stuff would be cleaning house regularly.
Uchi, it's the same reason of why
But Shit Slapper has jump.
That's true. Yeah, but
Shit Slapper has jump.
Not very good at getting into Cades, though.
He doesn't lead zombies into the Cade and have knockdown.
Yeah, that's true. But you guys watched one video. You watched one video from Abe and let him gaslight you.
I played the game. I saw this happen, and I was like, "That's insane! Oh my god, that was horrible."
Listen. There are scenarios though where humans are so incompetent that you can overly punish them, and he rolls. There's other scenarios though where you get bullied though.
Not everybody's a cater.
There are other scenarios though. There are other scenarios where humans were
Listen,
gang up on
You
you and kill you
remember?
instantly.
You remember where Ancient Nightmare had claiming clouds, like when Bucket added that, and Ancient Nightmare was able
Yo,
to do that?
yeah.
It's basically the
Let's talk
same
about
reason.
that.
Yeah, it's the same thing, but like it's on a different class. It
But
was removed
Ancient
for
was
the same
stronger in
reason.
that case, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Lich is still
and
really strong.
you're saying bringing zombies inside the cave is not strong?
Depending on the map, I mean, if it's a giant map,
Yeah,
if you
but
get into
depending
one
on the
window,
map.
you could be across the entire map.
That's the
It's still gonna
problem,
be
though.
strong regardless, dude.
On maps that weren't designed for that, it's ridiculous. It's insane. Like
I-
we were
I
playing
just-
Fire
yeah.
Forest, and it's just like, oh hey, no, he's in. We're done. Good night.
Like,
Goodbye,
I just like
everybody.
the fact that Lich can be aggressive because it's so passive now, though.
Alright,
It's
well,
always been
Lich is
passive,
good
and I do
now.
not like the
That's the
fact that it
design
can
of
be
Lich,
passive.
though.
I don't want it to be
Lich
like
is
that. I
still
want Lich
good.
to be aggressive.
Okay,
It's not
so the
as
only way that
aggressive
he can
now.
be aggressive is if you jump in windows and you spawn zombies on you. Like
It was
what?
half. Yes, it was half of his capabilities. The other one is dashing into a bunch of humans and teleporting
Then
zombies and
maybe he
hoping you
needs a
get out
bigger
alive.
rework instead of a gimmick like that.
Okay, I
Actually,
agree with that.
can you
See,
do
I'm
that
up for
every
that. I'm up for
time?
that. I'm up for that.
Lich needed nerfing anyways because Scott requested it got nerfed. So
He's a very annoying boss. He's a very annoying boss.
Oh, bro, Scott
Yeah.
for the.
So
Yeah.
ensure it's not gonna return. Goodbye.
I removed
No!
Lich Jump because Scott asked if we could tone down Lich because he was too powerful. So that's
He's
what I
still
did.
really
Put a
good.
bounty on
He's
him. Scott put a
incredible.
bounty on him.
You're gonna
It's
have to
so
take
over.
it up with upper management.
I'm
Yeah,
down to
if-
sit.
if- if
I'm down to
Scott
sit
wants
on
that
after
wrong,
this call and
then
talk
I'm
about
okay.
stuff like that. I can go on. That boss's design has issues.
Do you want to get anyone else on stage? Oh, there we go.
Alright,
Hi.
one moment.
Okay.
You have 30
I
seconds.
just want to say, since you added this, why is Flame Surge on defensive on the bounty selection instead of elementals?
Because I'm a fool. Next question.
Okay, that
Fair
is
enough.
kind of fair.
I mean, that's life.
Yeah,
That is how it is. Thanks for
I'll
the bug
leave that.
report.
Yo, when are you
leave it.
fixing this dog shit ass game mode?
Get him out of here. Get him out of here.
Game was already fixed. Next question.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Who else wants to join?
Yeah, come on in here. Let's talk.
Yo, where's
Yeah, let's get
Guts?
Sumi in here. Let's get Sumi in here.
Oh,
Yeah, where's
where's
dude,
Guts?
please, Guts.
Shame.
Where's
Let's see.
Are
Is
you
he
guys
gonna make
using
it
the, Are you
again?
guys using the raise hand thing?
raise hand? Dude, I have no idea how this works.
You didn't go to Discord school? Discord University?
Sorry, I only went to Mumble
Discord
school.
high.
Alright,
Yeah,
Firestorm, 30
invite
seconds.
them.
Firestorm,
Yeah,
our
invite
lovely
them.
moderator.
Moderator.
Well, he's
Anthony?
modding the chat.
Can we get a win streak event?
What?
A win streak event. That
Win-
sounds really
Yeah,
cool.
50
easy.
games to get
Just
ZE. Next question.
yeah, just promise ZE and you'll get your win streak.
I
Oh no,
No
someone
one.
say ZE.
Hello. I wanted to ask, you Tufflet, you reworked Sigilite.
Yes.
Do you have any plans on, doing the same with Hammerite?
Yes.
Okay.
So I wanted to rework Hammerite and Disruptor to have thunder abilities and lightning instead.
Ooh, fun.
That is something I might do for the Halloween event, maybe.
Ooh.
I'm thinking Frankenstein theme, something like that. So
Mm.
yeah. Lightning
Okay.
zombies. That's the plan.
Lightning
We need
zombies.
to add the disintegration effect when you get killed by lightning. I thought that was the
Yes.
funniest thing. When the people got moved to AFK, they disintegrated. We need to put that back in the game, make it on Thunderclaws. It's the funniest effect when you see
Yeah.
somebody die from funniest thing.
So I spoke with Dark One about this already. He's happy for those classes to just become lightning and thunder based. So that's the plan for him.
I see. Thank you.
Yeah, and Hammerite's going to get all the changes that Sigilite did as well, because Hammerite's still outdated. Yeah. Thank you for the question.
Thank you.
There is a quick chat question from Biko. He's asking, why does points and only earn 33% star compared to main, despite the game being similar and long. I think this is a Pufle question since he made it like that.
What's the question?
What is
point
point
save?
save with 33% multiplier on seasonal currencies?
Okay, I'll give you the actual answer. I think it was Scott suggested it because it's easier to farm and win on point save.
Oh, it's easier to farm in general.
Or sandboxy. So
I don't know about
winning.
winning.
It should be 50% at the very least because 33 is
50% at one point.
It was made back then when main didn't get crazy scores as it does nowadays. So it could use a little bit updating, but
yeah, it could definitely use some.
HST's suggestion should be given some consideration.
But what it should be used set to is up in the air, because
probably 50% then, right? Just half.
50%, yeah, 50% sounds about right. All right,
okay.
Next question.
Fine. Next question.
Also, just a little interjection. We will be wrapping up soon, so if you want to get your podcast rewards, join Cinema now. We will be giving out stars and Ember.
Yeah, we'll give the rewards now. So get on.
Yo.
Kraken's on main? Oh wait, no, Kraken like the gun.
Alright, my question is, when it comes to nerfing certain weapons, they're not done in a realistic setting, because, when we did that whole nerf or balance and nerf stream, it was all done on construct with one zombie, and what I'm suggesting is, when we want to actually nerf or buff weapons, can it be done on the actual main or point save server where it'll be in a realistic setting between waves 1 and 6?
I mean, that's the ideal, but people usually don't like admins just joining and spawning in weapons and just like mowing down the zombie team. So,
well, I mean,
no, that's the
like
thing.
what I
You're
do
actually,
usually.
no, that's
like,
the thing. You're actually going to play the
weapon.
game. Like you're not just going to spawn it in. You're actually going to work.
But the thing
towards
is,
it.
you can't balance your changes off of one game though. You got to play with it multiple times. Like when I was trying to understand zombie, it wasn't just like I'm going to play.
Before you go on, you just answered and solved the entire question. Devs actually have to play the game. So if the devs aren't playing the game, why do they have so much control over what needs to be nerfed and buffed?
Because they're the devs.
Exactly.
Give
see?
that control?
Because they're the
give
devs.
that control to other people. Like what? I'm playing the game.
That's open to all the devs because I'm not going to drop names, but some devs, when they update the game, their playtime doesn't match or isn't relevant to what they're updating or touching. That's all I'm saying.
Well, sometimes you don't need to play something to say, hey, that person's using that gun to instantly kill zombies. Maybe that's a problem.
Well, I mean, you'd have to see how it is because it might be an anomaly or... Yeah, it might be an anomaly or just a one-off event, but that's just all I'm saying. The devs actually need to play the game before they have control or so much power over what needs to be buffed and nerfed.
Well, thank you for the
you're
feedback.
Very emotional
this is why
right now. I'm going to move you back to the audience. Thank you for coming.
This is why communicating with the player base, I think, is really important because players will give feedback, and sometimes their feedback is biased. But I mean, whose isn't? I know. I mean, like our feedback is also biased by our own personal things. Like, I'm very emotional about chef and fishing and all that stuff. But you try to do your best. That's why we take in player feedback more. I've been trying to play the game a lot. Like, it's tough.
I just got back to the bathroom. What did I miss?
Okay, Camdonius Cider wandered on stage, so let's hear it.
Yeah, I had 2 questions. So the first one was, are you guys going to bring back Ember incentives for low win rate maps? I noticed that was removed a while back, and they said something about how it encouraged people to Z-main. But I think it was really nifty to have that reward because people would try a little bit harder. Nowadays, if it's like a low win rate map, people just automatically Z-main just to get it over with.
I think
nobody knows the win rate.
I think it got silently removed from like a break or something, so it'll just have to be looked into. We'll look into it. That's all.
That would be cool.
That's all I'll promise. And the second question?
The second question was, so when you guys added Decay, you were supposed to rework the bosses, but the bosses didn't get reworked, and the Decay got added, so it was just a nerf to the Z team.
Add more Decay.
Are you guys going to like actually rework the bosses to counteract the Decay, or is it just going to be left as is?
What?
Okay.
Well, what were we reworking about the bosses? What?
Well, the whole idea was the bosses would get reworked to play Wave 1 and 2 better.
Oh.
I don't think there's any bosses who like demand or who require themselves to stay alive for like multiple waves while not dealing damage, and that's like part of their design. That's not intended. If you pick a boss and you just can't do anything, it's like you gotta find some way to be useful, dude. You're the guy on the zombie team. You got that pressure on you. You gotta perform. If you can't handle it, don't pick boss.
Yeah, well,
Come on,
you guys said in the discussion for that you guys were going to rework it, and you promised that you would. Because I brought it up during that discussion. I was like, you guys are probably not going to do anything about it, and you're just going to add decay. And that was what happened.
Honestly, yeah, for instantly killing zombies, I was down to that. But can you say that any boss has been negatively impacted by decay more than others?
No, not necessarily. But I wouldn't be opposed to instantly killing them, though, if we could rework the bosses to make better gameplay. Because when bosses push into a crowd on high pop, they're just going to get obliterated unless they're Ancient Nightmare or Red Marrow.
Well, there's the thing. We can talk about reworking some bosses that just don't play well and like all that stuff. If decay really had that big, because I don't think decay has much of an impact right now.
It doesn't have a huge impact, no.
The spotting thing is a big deal. I love that. I think we should keep that.
is a little.
Yeah, like if we think bosses need reworks, let's just go for the reworks. We don't need to have any kind of like mechanic added in as like a trade-off sort of thing. It's just like some bosses are more passive and it sucks to play against and it sucks to have them on your team. That's like, yeah, let's just do the reworks. Like, again, the whole thing was like insta-killing zombies. We were concerned that was going to ruin the boss, but if it did ruin the boss, then we were going to rebalance them. It wasn't just like, okay, so we added this mechanic, now we got to take this out. We got to give these guys more things. Not like that. Not like a trade thing, because I don't know the value. I don't know if decay really had an impact, then it would be a case to do stuff. So, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
It's continuous. Plus, Pooflet did say he was moving to less frequent, more substantial updates. So what you're saying, adding decay and then rebalancing bosses, that'll be an element in future updates, I'm sure, that are going to be following this format.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And also, if
Gotta
you missed the mark on something, just let us know. Bother someone about it.
Of course.
Yeah.
We'll do.
Please, call us out.
All right.
So,
thank you for coming.
I got a question about, my boy Shade. So, Shade sucks, like, really bad in almost every situation. The shield sucks. Like, it just gets melted. I don't even know if it scales based on pop or not.
It does.
Image sucks ass. Like, I can sometimes do like 5 damage with a vending machine or something. Like, it just bounces off of them. There's a few situations where it is viable, but you need like a beer case, and it's like one time. It depends on the map.
I think we're due for some shade testing. I think we need to prove some of these things because a lot of people have been saying shade damage is inconsistent, and I've played a couple of games where I'm just like, oh, shade got the vending machine. We're done. Like 5 people dead. So like, where's the inconsistency coming from? Is it the trinkets that's overpowered?
I will say the inconsistency could be coming from who actually is the shade.
Like, I'll be throwing like a vending machine at a melee man, and it'll just bounce off.
Because like it's a very skill based boss, in my opinion.
No, there is some things that are unclear, like the traces for shade.
It just like props will full on bounce off them. It feels like if you're gonna throw a fucking vending machine, it feels like whenever you carry a prop as shade, it feels like it's gotten lighter. Like it has like almost.
I don't think anything's changed with that, honestly.
I checked the code for shade and prop killing. Nothing's been touched.
Yeah, I looked at it too, and I found the same thing. I really don't know what has changed. I don't think anything's changed, honestly. I just think it's the source engine and maybe some trinkets. Maybe the trinkets making it so you can survive a shade hit, and that's just making the prop stay still. I don't know.
But it's not a matter of damage. It's like props will just bounce off a player. Like it'll hit them.
Well, if it kills them, it goes through them because it like that's how the source engine
code.
works.
But if it's on the other servers though, it's like you throw a vending machine at a person, they're getting gibbed. It's not like Sunrust where it just like bounces off of them. Does like 5 damage.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If it doesn't kill them, it bounces off of them. That's the thing. Like if it's not because maybe they have so much damage resistance or whatever, maybe that's a concern. Maybe if you use blood armor and graviton well, you can just tank it. I don't know.
Well,
Graviton Wall asking us to make a conclusion with not enough information. There could be so many things going on that it's basically all we can say is we'll look into it.
I'll look into it. I'll look into it. It's on the to-do list.
But,
same thing with Shade's traces. Picking up props is inconsistent. It's on there. I'll post a visualization about it eventually.
Oh, someone said Graviton too. Like Graviton blocks like 80% of prop damage. Like that makes the boss almost unusable because it just blocks so much damage.
It shouldn't affect Shade. I don't think it affects Shade.
It definitely does right
let's
now.
look into it.
almost
Let's look
guarantee
into it, and if it does, then yeah, I think removing that for Shade makes sense because that's his bread and butter.
It's removed to the Shade rocks, I think.
Feels like the rocks do the same amount of damage regardless. Do like what, like 60?
Yeah, I think because it's not Shade. Rocks aren't physics damage. Rocks are like a projectile.
Yes, that's correct.
Just feels like there's way too many counters to Shade. I mean, especially Graviton. You can just nail props. Like the main thing with Shade is prop killing.
Oh,
and there's so many.
Yeah, being able to nail props. I mean, the whole thing about Shade is to just punish people for not nailing props. If people are playing good, you don't get your insta kills. I don't think that we should ever change that design philosophy. Like, what, you want him to rip props off walls and stuff? That would be
No.
ridiculous.
Just make it so you can throw players. I don't know.
Didn't he have like a pulse or something? Bring
Yeah,
back
that got
Rock
removed.
500 damage? No, dude, not for Rock, but like for like Paint Can, yeah.
Yeah, you used to be able to knock down players. Like if you're getting fucked by a bunch of melee mains, you can at least knock down and run them away. Now you can't even do that.
But that's the counter to Shade. That's the counter to Shade. You run up to him and you bully him. That's funny. It encourages people to play the game. If he has like tools to deal with every situation, it's like, and you could still get hit for a rock with a rock for like a ton of damage too. Like, how much damage does rocks do? I don't have the code open right now.
We need to give Shade pocket sand ability.
Pocket sand.
Shade's fine.
No, I'm pretty sure the average people that play Shade, like the very good players, have never complained about Shade, and there is a reason for that.
The good players being like what, 1 or 2? Like the amount of good
No,
players.
there are a lot of players. What are you talking about?
Hmm.
Have you ever seen Fructose or even like other players that are actually good? Like even Frisky, even John or Ellie or these people, they're so fucking scared of Shade, dude. You don't want to mess with them.
Past tense. They're not here anymore.
They're not
They're no
here.
longer here with us.
We can't talk about those. We can't talk about that guy.
There's no more good players. They're all banned.
Yeah, you're right. But yeah, you get what I mean. Like if you know what you're doing, then you know that you should not mess with them.
Like, so I used to play FW. I could easily get like 30 brains on there. And then I come on here and I
Yeah,
get,
okay, because the players are fucking shit, man. Dude, the players are garbage. You're comparing a server with garbage players with a server with people that actually know what they're doing. Like, this is a stupid comparison. I'm sorry.
Well, no, I meant like I'll throw a vending machine on FW. It goes for like 10 people. I threw a vending machine on here.
We'll look into it. It's on the list.
Okay. Power trip, bro. What the fuck you mean I want a power trip? What? Okay, buddy. Yeah, can we ban this guy?
Should we wrap it up, Dom?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Is everyone on the cinema server?
Yeah, I'll give people like a minute. If you don't have a SSD at this point, then you're not playing ZS.
I put ZS on my hard drive. I'm psycho.
Okay.
I have my maps on my hard drive, but everything else is on my SSD.
Actually, you know what? That's actually how I have it set up. Never mind. That is how I have it set up. But still, it's still slow to load maps.
Oh shoot! I didn't fill in the stars. How many stars should we get?
I don't know.
Dude, we should get 5.
I don't know.
Okay,
We're worth
yeah,
it.
very hot take.
Wait. Oh, I thought you were saying like rank the dev stream. I'm like, dude, this is 10 out of 10 stream. Why would you ever give us anything less?
Totally not biased opinion.
Can you send me the stars? I mean, like, I'm at the office here. I showed up to the office. I can't sign into ZS.
All right, so there is another question for you, Bufa. Are there any planned white mage stuff changes, or do I suggest them? This is Sumi asking you.
I just told him, yeah, anything medic related, just throw in the part 2 proposal, and I'll go over it.
Can we ban this guy in the chat? He said something pretty out there.
Which guy?
Ping me.
Who?
This big red flakes guy, get him out. Get him out of here. Get him out of the chat.
Sure,
Not really.
uh,
Not
yeah,
really. I'm
sure.
joking. I'm joking. But get him out. Yeah, that Miku guy. He's
1,000 stars.
1,000 stars is fine. Yeah, I think that's suitable. No, don't listen to these five. No, don't. These bastards just want their. They just want their private penguin model enlarged. So
hey,
instead
if you
of
want
drawing on-
additional stars, submit fish to me. Submit me fish SDKs. Please. We need more fish.
Oh, it
There
still
we go.
says movie
Sweet.
night. It's over.
Excellent. Well, thank you
You'll get
to
stars once they get
everyone
implemented.
that's joined in on the Q&A. We hope you've all found this interesting or useful. We tried to be a bit more community oriented compared to the previous Q&As, so answering more questions and stuff instead. So hopefully it's been better this time.
Yep, thank you all. This was very insightful, as all the others were. It's sad that Scott wasn't able to, join us, but
Yeah.
I'm sure we were in line for most of this. And yeah, it's nice to hear the community questions. I'm glad we were able to get through a lot of them. I think we'll stick to this format for now. We'll just spend a short amount of time, like 15 minutes, talking about what we're working on and our short-term plans instead of like an hour. And we'll move on to mostly community questions in a focused manner with a few in-voice ones at the end for some real-time debate.
Yes. Oh, real time to. Oh, that would be nice. That would be nice. Let's get some players on here. Let's talk.
I think that'll be for another day, though.
Yeah, definitely. Also,
Alright.
like, I want to do more fireside chats. I want to do little informal, just, we're going to get in the stream. We're going to just talk over voice about what's been going on with CS this week, what people think is overpowered, all that stuff. Having discussions like that more frequently where it's just like a dedicated place to just talk in real time. I think that would be really nice. And most of the streams have been pretty good. I've been enjoying it. So I'm probably going to do more of those. I don't know if it's going to become a regular thing. It's really just whenever I have time.
Alright, thank you all for coming, and here's to the rest of 2023.